Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista. We are on day 2 of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, and I'm super excited to be starting this pantry challenge because I really love using everything that I have available in my pantry. So today is day 2. Now, day 1, we actually just had leftovers. We had a super low-key New Year's Eve. I wasn't feeling 100%, and I don't normally like to go out anyways and do like the whole big party thing. So we just kind of made a whole bunch of appetizers and we just had a really quiet night at home. It was really nice. We were asleep definitely before New Year's. I wanted to stay up at least until my kids' New Year's. They are an hour ahead of me, so I wanted to be able to stay up just so that I could say Happy New Year's to them. So right after their New Year's, I was in bed and I was definitely asleep. So it was not very exciting, but today is day 2. Now, one thing that I actually wanted to make on New Year's that I did not have the energy to make is some sausage balls. There's a couple that sits behind us at church, and she was saying that she was making some sausage balls for her Christmas celebrations. And I thought, that sounds delicious. And I said to her, I really want to try to make them. And she kind of told me roughly what she puts in hers. So I went online and did some research and found a really good recipe that sounds very comparable to the one that she was mentioning. So I will leave that linked below for you guys if you want to try it. But one thing that the recipe actually needs, and I forgot my recipe over there, so I gotta go grab it. The recipe calls for a Bisquick mix. Now, I don't have a Bisquick mix. I'm not gonna buy it because I really don't like buying the pre-made mixes because they just put a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff in it that does not need to be in there. So we're gonna make our own Bisquick mix today. Now, the original recipe that I'm gonna be using for the Bisquick mix calls for shortening. The reason it calls for shortening is to make it shelf stable. But I don't have shortening. I could definitely use lard in this if I wanted to, but we're gonna use butter because that's what I have available. I really want to make some lard or render lard, not make it, just render the pig fat into lard. But I haven't found a really good source around me to get some fat from. So we're just gonna use butter today. Now, because we are using butter, this is not going to be something that you can just leave on your pantry shelf. You do have to put it in the refrigerator or you do need to freeze it. So what we'll do is we'll just make half the batch today because the recipe calls for 6 cups of flour. We're not a big family. Again, I have mentioned this on a couple of my other videos. It's just my husband, Steven, and I. So we don't eat a tremendous amount of stuff. We definitely go through more stuff when the kids are home, but they're not home right now because it's January and there's school and work. So we're just gonna make half the batch, and then again, because we're not gonna use that whole batch in these sausage balls, we're just gonna put it in the freezer, and then whenever I just need a quick biscuit, I can just get that out of the freezer and make it. If you refrigerate it, it says it does have a shelf life of 3 months, or it suggests to use it within 3 months. Okay, so we have our sausage out, but we're not gonna get these balls made yet. We'll do the biscuit first. So we need flour, which we just got our big 5-gallon bucket out of our pantry. So I'm just using a unbleached all-purpose flour for this. I'm so excited. I just ordered my grain mill. I got a Nutri-Mill Classic. It has definitely come highly recommended. One of my friends has it and she just loves it. She's had it for years and years and she just says this thing is a workhorse and she loves it. I ordered it, but it hasn't come in yet. It was actually supposed to come in on the 31st and it never ended up showing up. So fingers crossed it comes today. I need to actually get a big bowl because I don't want to make this in a small bowl and have it go all over my counter. So I'm going to be using a really big stainless, well, not a really big, I'm going to be using a big stainless steel bowl for this just to limit the mess. Okay, so we have our flour. Again, we're just using the unbleached all-purpose flour. Some baking powder out of here. Oh, I want to show you one of my Christmas gifts that Steven bought me, aka I bought it and put his name on it. He bought me these measuring cups. Aren't they amazing? They're glass. We got them at an antique store. They are so beautiful and they were only $25, which is probably a lot, but I think they're gorgeous for $25. So this is them. The only thing I don't really like about them is that there's such a small handle on it. So I used them once already and the handle was kind of annoying, but I love cooking with beautiful things, and these just are amazing. So I have to be really careful with them because they're glass. So we are gonna get started by adding 3 cups of flour to the bowl. I will leave the original recipe below for you guys with the original measurements. It does make a really large batch. So we're just, again, we're halving it. I'm going to get, I can't really shake these very well. That's how I normally level my stuff, is I just kind of give it a quick shake. But we're gonna do something. Actually, what I'm gonna do is just get a spoon and spoon it in. I don't really like to level it down like this because it does kind of compact the flour in there, and I don't really want to do that. So that's 1, 2, I guess I'll level it that way, 3. Okay, we'll just get this out of the way. And then we need, I think I have, yes I do. I got these measuring spoons, I think from an auction or somewhere, an antique store. I can't remember it, but I think it was an auction. Anyways, I have this huge 1.5 tablespoon scoop. I love it. So we need to add 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder. I need to put some more baking powder in here. We'll leave this out so I remember to restock this. Then we need 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm just using a Redmond's real salt in this. It does not specify, say, kosher or anything. It just says salt. And then I'm going to use my pastry blender and just kind of mix these things together. And then we need 1/2 stick of butter. I'm just using a cold butter. I like to use a cold butter because I can get it kind of with chunks in it. And then that way I have nice butter pieces throughout the biscuit. And again, we're going to be storing this in the freezer, so it is fine that we are using butter. So I'm just cutting my butter up into cubes just so that it breaks up a little bit easier with my pastry blender. And this is really cold butter that I just got out of the fridge. And we just want to break it up so that the butter is just kind of mixed throughout and it's like a crumbly mixture. And because my butter is really cold, I just kind of have to come in and just keep pushing it through this. You can definitely use a food processor for this. In fact, I probably should have used a food processor. It would have been a lot quicker, but that's fine. This makes less dishes. There is our Bisquick mix. It's nice and crumbly. We got little pieces of butter kind of all mixed through. You will definitely get this a lot finer if you use a food processor. But that is good for what we need it for. So if you want to use this Bisquick mix to make like a pancake with, all you would do is you would use 2 cups of your mix and then 1 cup of milk and then 2 eggs to this. Now the recipe does not say anything about actually making biscuits with it, but I would imagine that you would just use the milk and the egg in it as well. And I will leave the recipe linked below for you guys. What we're going to do right now is I need to get that baking powder. I want to do it now while I have that container out. Otherwise, I very easily forget to do things. June 3rd. Checking all the dates on my baking powder and making sure I use my oldest one first. That is definitely how I keep my pantry in kind of working order, is I do rotation with it. So I always make sure that I'm using the oldest thing first. That way I'm not wasting money and letting something go bad. I'm just gonna take my container and empty it out into here. The tab just broke. And I don't really have long nails. There we go. What I'm going to do first actually is take the stuff that's in here, take it out, because I want to make sure that that goes on the top. We'll put that in here. Just put the older stuff on top. Okay, now my baking powder can go back. Alrighty, so that one's done. I just need to check my phone because that's where the recipe is for these sausage balls. Italian seasoning calls for. Now, I've never made these sausage balls before, so I don't know if it's calling for like Italian seasoning like you would make like a dressing with, or like Italian seasoning herb mix? Because these are two very different things. Let's see. Now, she did have something linked in the recipe to Amazon, and it brings me to an Italian seasoning mix like this that's just strictly the herbs. So it is not like a dressing Italian. So we're gonna put that back. We got the herbs out, and then I need to get some milk and some cheese. Okay. Calls for 16 ounces of shredded cheddar cheese or grated cheddar cheese. I don't know how much is in here because I buy the 5-pound blocks and I just kind of shred just whatever amount I want to shred at that time. So we're gonna measure it or weigh it and see what we've got. Normally I don't care about cheese. I will just add with my heart. But because I'm making these for the very first time, I want to make them as the recipe calls for it. I want to make sure I'm adding the right amount. Okay, so I need to be in ounces first of all. We'll tear that. And so it says 16 ounces, so 1 pound. That might be the whole bag. There we go. 16 ounces. All right, so to get started making these, we are gonna add 1 pound of a pork sausage in a large mixing bowl. I'm just gonna use a mild sausage. This is kind of like a Italian. I think this is actually a touch bit over a pound. This should be fine. It's not very much over a pound. So we'll just put that in our bowl. I'm gonna break it up a little bit and then wash my hands. I know I've said this on a couple of my videos, but I don't always show you guys washing my hands. I usually edit those things out, but I will assure you I wash my hands very, very frequently in between touching meat because I don't want to contaminate my kitchen. So if you don't see me washing my hands, assume I'm doing it because I most likely am doing it. So I guess you could probably even use like a spicy sausage in this if you would like. It would make the meatballs a lot more spicier, but we're just going to use a mild. The other thing we need to do is preheat our oven to 375. So the recipe suggests to use a large rimmed baking sheet. So just by rimmed, it just means like this. It doesn't mean just use a flat one. So we're gonna use this one. We have our sausage in our bowl. So now we need to add 2 cups of this Bisquick mix to it. And I'm just gonna scoop a little tiny bit over 2 cups because we have a touch over 1 pound of sausage. So I probably put in like 2 1/4 cup. And then this is what we have left. So I'm just going to put this into a freezer bag and label it and just put it in the freezer. But I'll do that after I'm done. Once I get this in the oven. Okay, so then we need to add our cheese. That's again 16 ounces of a grated cheddar cheese. Thinking you could probably use like a smoked cheddar cheese in this. I'm using, it's called, I don't know the exact name. It's like a marble cheese. So it's a mix of a couple of different varieties, but it's really delicious. Okay, and then we're gonna use 1/2 cup of milk. I'm just gonna use a whole milk. So it is definitely a thicker milk. It does not say what type of milk to use. I always use whole milk, so that's what we're gonna use. I might need to add a touch bit more because again, we added more sausage and more Bisquick. Let's add a little bit more. Add that in the bowl. And then we need 1 1/2 teaspoons of our Italian herb blend. Okay, I'm gonna take my ring off to do this because this is the messy part. We're gonna mix it all together with our hands. Just making sure I'm getting everything from the bottom mixed in. This is what it looks like. So the recipe recommends to use a cookie scoop and do 1-inch balls with this. Again, these are supposed to be kind of like a party appetizer, but I am wanting to actually do these for dinner. And I'm thinking that we'll definitely have leftovers. What I'm gonna do is probably have some for breakfast tomorrow as well. So kind of make 2 meals out of this one. And then we probably will even still have some left over. And in that case, I'll just freeze them so that I could just reheat them. So mine are going to be about this size, so, like that. So not huge, just kind of medium size. So excited to try these. I think these are gonna make a delicious breakfast as well because it's got the cheese, it's got the meat, and it's got the Bisquick. It's kind of like a meat pancake. Well, a savory meat pancake because it has the cheese in it. I can understand why it says to use a lined baking sheet because this is gonna probably produce quite a bit of fat in it. You'd probably be able to get away with using like a turkey sausage or a chicken sausage. In fact, I may try to make this again with a turkey sausage because we have quite a bit of it. So that would be yummy to try. That's one thing that's exciting about the pantry challenge is it kind of challenges you to use what you actually have in your pantry or in your freezers and just kind of make do with what you have instead of just going out and buying it at the grocery store. Use what you have. And this is gonna make more than one cookie sheet. So I'm gonna have to get another cookie sheet out. And I just call every sheet that looks like this a cookie sheet. All right, we might be able to actually get all of these on here. They're not going to expand, so it's fine if they're kind of close together. I just don't want to dirty another baking sheet, and then I'll have to do 2 batches, and I don't want to do that. It'll take too long. Just making it fit without having them touch each other. Our oven beeped, so we're gonna get these in the oven. And we are gonna set the timer for 25 minutes. It says about 20 to 25 minutes, but y'all know I say this all the time. My oven is off a little bit, so I always go for the longer cooking time. So I'm just gonna take the leftover Bisquick, just put it in this bag. See if I can do it without spilling it. You know what? I have something for this. I ordered this tool a long time ago on Amazon and I can use it for this. I originally ordered it when I was making like freezer meals. You just put the baggie in like this and it will adjust if you're doing bigger bags too, but this is just a quart size bag. Let's see if this works a little better. There we go. That looks like enough just to make a personal serving of pancakes, which is good. Good for a quick breakfast one morning for one person. Ooh, the sun is bright back here. I want to show you guys the newest addition to our back pantry area. We found this guy on Marketplace for $40. It's amazing. It's another pantry. I had run out of pantry space for my canned stuff and I just needed a little tiny shelf. And Steven actually made me this canning shelf years and years ago. And I said to him, I'm like, can we make like just a smaller version of that? Just like smush it down to like half the size of that. I wanted a place to be able to put my dehydrator on. And I thought if we do a shelf that's like half the size of that, then I could just put my dehydrator on the top. We just thought with the price of wood and time and stuff, it might be cheaper just to go on to Facebook Marketplace and see, you know, if we could find something. And then we ended up finding that beautiful shelf. So I'm able to house all of my canning books in one spot. I do have some more canning books on the bottom, because there is shelves down here too. I was able to put some of my other canning stuff in here, have my dehydrator on here, and then I put some more jars in here. I'll end up having more space in my pantry once we start eating through it a little bit more in the pantry challenge. But because I'm at my max capacity right now of my most that I'll ever have canned in the whole year, I just needed a little bit more space. So that doesn't have a lot of weight on it. That was actually one thing we were pretty concerned with, whether these shelves would be able to support the amount of canned goods. But this is just kind of like an overage pantry. I'm not gonna ever have it just stacked to the gills. So that's kind of just some overage stuff. The other thing I actually wanted to say was thank you guys so much. I received a couple of gifts over the last couple of months from you guys, some amazing canning books. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for it. I love it. It was such a surprise. I opened them up and I was like, what the heck? I didn't order anything. But then I realized that it was a gift from some of you viewers. I want to let you know that thank you so much. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. So thank you guys so much for that. And we will definitely be using those books in the upcoming canning year. I'm excited. One of the books that you sent me was this. This is an amazing book. And look at all the dog ears already. So many recipes in here that we're gonna try. There's actually a couple in here that would work really good for pantry meals. So we're gonna be using that in the next couple months. So those are in the oven, and while they're cooking, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna include a clip here showing you guys what we made for New Year's Eve. I just quickly filmed while we were kind of prepping some of our appetizers on New Year's Eve. So I wanna show you guys that because yesterday, so day one of the pantry challenge, we ended up just having those for leftovers. So I'm gonna include that clip right here while we wait for those meatballs to finish cooking. I found a recipe a while ago. I believe I actually found it on Facebook. It's for a ham and cheese pinwheel. It looked really delicious. And I told Stephen, I'm like, we have to try this recipe. So I went out and bought some puff pastry. I just got this from the refrigerated section in Walmart. I don't know what the ingredients are. They're probably not the best, but it was New Year's Eve. So we were just, you know, living our best life. So we're going to use this puff pastry, and it does recommend to leave it on that parchment paper. If you get the kind that is in the frozen section, it's probably going to be in 2 freezer sheets. So you're going to do this in 2 different parts, but the stuff that I got was just one long sheet. So the recipe calls to use some thinly sliced deli ham, some Dijon mustard, and cheese, like grated cheese. So I'm going to use the deli ham. I just picked this stuff up at Aldi's, and then we're going to use some Dijon mustard. So we're just going to take the Dijon mustard and just put it all on the bottom of the puff pastry. You just want to completely cover it, but you want to leave like about a 1/2 inch border around all sides. Then you're going to take your meat. You don't need to use ham. You can definitely use any type of deli meat that you like in this. This is just what we got this particular night. So I'm going to take my deli meat and I'm just going to cover all of the mustard with the deli meat. Next up, you're going to take your cheese. So grated cheese is what the recipe calls for, but we're just going to use some pepper jack slices here, and you just want to cover all of that up. Next thing you're going to do is just take your pinwheel and you are going to roll it tightly. I absolutely did not roll this tight enough, and you'll see when I go to cut it, it was just falling apart everywhere. Make sure you roll this super tight. After you get it rolled, you're going to put it in the fridge for 20 minutes and let it chill. What we also had going on this night was we were making some deviled eggs. So Stephen was actually in charge of that. So those are boiling. A while ago, I made this pepper jelly with you guys. And so what I did is I topped some cream cheese with that, and we had it with some crackers. These are just some crackers that I picked up from Aldi's. Again, don't know the ingredients, and I didn't really care this night. We were just, again, living the best life. So we're gonna dip the crackers in that, and then we're making some jalapeno poppers. These are actually jalapenos from my garden last year that I had in the freezer that Pantry Challenge needed to get used up. So you can see here when I'm cutting the roll that it is just falling apart everywhere. You need to make sure that you really roll this tightly so that everything just does not loosely come apart. So we are going to set our oven for 375, and we are going to put these in for 18 minutes. Now, 18 minutes was not enough. I pulled them out and they were definitely not cooked all the way. So I ended up putting them back into the oven for another 5 minutes, and then they turned out perfect. So these are them coming out of the oven the second time, and they were delicious. You could definitely put a couple of other things in it just to kind of make them taste a little bit better, but they were really good. So this was our spread on New Year's Eve, and we were able to pretty much have more than half of this the second night for day one of the pantry challenge. I'm at my desk, and I don't know if you can see, but UPS just pulled up. I am hoping that's my grain mill. Is it it? Yay, I'm so excited. Okay, let's open it up. Steven's doing the honors for me. Oh my gosh, what's that? Yes, you definitely are making me happy, Nutrimel. Look it. So this is the one I ordered. Is it heavy?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be like really heavy.
For the features.
Oh, what on the back it tells you what all you can. It's kind of like an unboxing now. There she is. Oh.
So nifty little thing.
Yeah. I lost Steven. It's already out of the package, so the excitement's worn off for him. I'm excited. Oh, yay. I'm definitely gonna have to do some research on this because I have read that you have to run rice through it at first just to kind of clean it out. So I'm gonna do some research before I even plug this bad boy in. I'm not trying to break it, but there is some pretty good instructions here. And I've already kind of watched a couple tutorials on, at least on how to clean it. One thing that I keep reading over and over and hearing from people is never put water near this thing. Somebody actually suggested using like a paintbrush and just having that to clean the mill, like a dry paintbrush. So I'm gonna get some more research done. This is not gonna be used today because we're making meatballs today, which by the way, they are smelling amazing right now. And we still have 12 minutes left on those. So I'm just gonna finish doing some more computer work. Okay, so we're gonna check the meatballs because Steven turned our timer off. Steven's on week 3 of vacation. I'm hoping they're not burnt. Well, there we go. They don't look burnt, but I also don't have my glasses on, so I can't see. All right, some of them are a little crispy. That's fine. I was wondering why my timer was not changing from 11, and I'm like, that's weird. I have 11 minutes, and I came back like 2 minutes later, and I'm like, it still says 11 minutes. And then I clued in that it was 11 o'clock and not 11 minutes on my timer. Okay, let's see here. These are looking good. I'm just gonna open like one of them and make sure that it's cooked in the middle, but I'm pretty sure it is. The cheese has formed a crust on the bottom. That is amazing. Let's see. I think they're cooked in the middle. They look cooked. Pork is something that you don't want to mess around with and eat raw, so you need to make sure that they're cooked, but they're cooked and they're good. These are definitely more of a breakfast than a dinner, but we're gonna have them for dinner anyways, because why not have breakfast for dinner? That is like a #1 easy pantry meal is breakfast for dinner. But these are really, really good. And that cheese on the bottom, so delicious. Put a little bit of maple syrup on these. Man, that'd be heaven. So those are done. I'm gonna turn the oven off and let them just kind of cool down a bit. Steven, come and try one. Let's see what Steven thinks.
Did I ruin them?
No. Here, try this. Try this half. I already ate the other half. It's really, really hot, so you have to like...
What's in it?
It has Bisquick, sausage. There's nothing that you don't like in it.
It's very hot.
What do you think? With a little maple syrup on it?
No mixed syrup.
Doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Yummy, yummy.
Sausage McMuffin all in one.
It's what?
A sausage McMuffin.
Sausage McMuffin?
All in one.
Yeah.
But it's got more cheese to it. I like the...
I know, and look at the bottom.
See, so look at me turning off the timer. The
Crust.
cheese is perfect.
It's like a cheese cracker on the bottom. He likes them. Well, that's good. They are delicious. All right, so that is it. Fun fun day. We got our Nutrimilk, which definitely just made my day. I'm so excited about it. These taste delicious, so that made my day also. I hope you guys enjoyed day 2 of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge. I'm gonna be trying to film most of my meals. I won't be able to film all of them just because sometimes I definitely do repeat meals. We eat a lot of leftovers during the Pantry Challenge, and we just kind of go to our favorites. So I'm gonna try to make videos of all of our favorite recipes. So Stephen actually had a really good suggestion, and I thought I'm gonna definitely do that. And I hope you guys kind of get on the bandwagon with me with it. So during the Pantry Challenge, we are definitely making a lot of our favorite recipes. One thing that he suggested that we do, and again, such a good idea, if you guys have any really favorite recipes, like your family recipes that you guys always have on repeat, send them to me, because I would love to be able to make them and film them, or just make them and try them. Not necessarily just film them, but just be able to try some of your guys' favorite recipe. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of pick our favorites or ones that look like we would really enjoy them, and then I can make them and film them. So I have included our P.O. box in the description. So if you want to do it the old-fashioned way and send me a copy of your recipes, that would be amazing. I love getting mail, like letters from people. Like it's an old-fashioned thing, but I love getting it. It's just so personal. So if you guys want to send me a copy of your recipe, you can definitely do that. Or I also have my email address in the video description as well, so you can just email me if you have a recipe, again, that your family really enjoys, and we'll just kind of go through the recipes, and then maybe we can make those recipes throughout the next 2 months during the Pantry Challenge. So that was a really good idea from him, and I thought I'm definitely going to do that because I would love to try some of your guys' favorite recipes. Thanks again, guys, for watching, and I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.